Hi, I'm Omar. I'm a 35-year-old accountant who lives in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Arizona. And until 3 months ago, I thought I had pretty decent neighbors. My weekends usually involve firing up my grill, inviting friends over, and enjoying some good food and conversation. It's nothing crazy, just burgers, hot dogs, maybe some ribs if I'm feeling ambitious. Omar, you're smoking the whole neighborhood out again, my buddy Mike called out from my driveway one Saturday afternoon. Get in here and grab a plate before you complain, I shot back, flipping a burger. You know you love my BBQ. Mike laughed and walked over, beer in hand. Fair point. Your brisket last month was incredible. Thanks, man. I'm trying a new dry rub today. Tell me what you think. My wife Sarah came out onto the patio carrying a bowl of potato salad. Did you invite the Hendersons from next door? I knocked on their door earlier, but no one answered, I said. Probably out running errands. That's Carol Henderson's car in the driveway, though. Sarah pointed toward the white SUV. I shrugged. Maybe she didn't hear me. Their loss. That's when I noticed Carol Henderson standing at her window, arms crossed, staring directly at us with this sour expression on her face. I waved, trying to be friendly. She immediately pulled her curtain shut. What's her problem? Mike asked, noticing the interaction. No idea. She's been acting weird lately. Last week she complained about my grass being a quarter-inch too long. You're kidding. Nope. She actually measured it and left a note on my door. Sarah shook her head. That woman has way too much time on her hands. About an hour later, we were all sitting around, enjoying the food and laughing, when a police car pulled up to my house. My stomach dropped. Officer Davis stepped out, looking almost apologetic. Afternoon, folks. I got a call about a disturbance. A disturbance? I stood up, confused. Officer, we're just having a small BBQ. It's 3 in the afternoon on a Saturday. I understand, sir. May I ask your name? Omar Malik. I live here. What's this about? Officer Davis glanced at his notepad. We received a complaint about excessive smoke, noise, and potential fire hazards from your outdoor cooking. Mike stood up. Fire hazards? It's a standard propane grill. Who called this in? I asked, though I already knew. I can't disclose that information, but I need to verify you're following city ordinances regarding outdoor cooking. Sarah came over, clearly frustrated. Officer, we've lived here for 5 years. We've never had any problems. I believe you, ma'am. Let me just check the grill setup and make sure everything's up to code. Officer Davis walked over, inspected my grill, checked the propane connection, and looked around the yard. Everything appears to be in order. The grill is a safe distance from the house. You've got proper ventilation, and I don't see any code violations. So we're good, I asked. You're good. Just maybe keep the music down a bit. He gave me a knowing look, then added quietly, Between you and me, this complaint seemed pretty frivolous. Have a good day, folks. After he left, Mike turned to me. Dude, that was definitely Carol. 100%, I agreed. The next week, I tried talking to Carol directly. I knocked on her door, and when she answered, she had that same sour expression. Hi, Carol. I wanted to talk about last weekend. Your BBQs are a nuisance, Omar. The smoke comes into my yard. You're always making noise, and it's inconsiderate. Carol, we've been doing this for years. I've invited you multiple times. I don't want to be invited. I want peace and quiet in my own home. Is that too much to ask? We're not doing anything illegal. The officer confirmed that. Well, maybe the rules need to change then. She crossed her arms defiantly. What does that mean? It means I'm going to make sure people like you can't just do whatever you want anymore. I'm proposing new ordinances at the next HOA meeting. I felt my jaw clench. People like me? People who don't respect their neighbors' peace and quiet, she said quickly, realizing how that sounded. The next day, I called Mike over to my house. Sarah was already sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open. Okay, so I did some research, Sarah said. Carol can't actually change city ordinances through the HOA, but she can make life miserable with petty rules. What kind of rules? Mike asked. Restrictions on outdoor cooking times, noise levels, even the type of grills allowed. She's got connections on the HOA board. I paced the kitchen. This is insane. She's one person with a grudge. Actually, Sarah pulled up a webpage. She's not alone. I found the HOA meeting minutes from last month. She's already got 3 other board members supporting her proposal for neighborhood improvement initiatives. Let me see that. I leaned over her shoulder, reading through the document. They want to restrict outdoor cooking to between noon and 3 p.m. on weekends only? That's ridiculous. Mike grabbed a beer from my fridge. Can they actually enforce this? If they pass it as an HOA rule, yes. We'd face fines if we violated it. I sat down heavily. So what do we do? Sarah looked at me thoughtfully. You know what the real solution is? The city council. They're the ones who actually control the ordinances. If we could get someone reasonable on the council, who would run against the incumbents? Mike asked. They've been there forever. District 3's seat is up for election in 2 months, Sarah said. That's our district. The current councilman, Bill Peterson, is retiring. I stared at her. Are you seriously suggesting? Why not? She turned to face me fully. You care about this community. You're an accountant, so you understand budgets and regulations. And you're actually being targeted by an unreasonable neighbor trying to abuse her power. I've never run for anything in my life. Mike grinned. I think it's brilliant. Imagine Carol's face when you become a city councilman. Over the next week, I talked to more neighbors. I knocked on doors, attended community events, and discovered something surprising. A lot of people were tired of Carol and her crew's petty restrictions. She complained about my garden gnomes, Mrs. Martinez from across the street told me. Said they were aesthetically displeasing. I've had those gnomes for 15 years. She tried to fine me for parking my work van in my own driveway overnight, said Tom, a plumber from 2 streets over. My work van? How else am I supposed to do my job? At a neighborhood coffee shop, I met Beth Chen, a local business owner who'd been fighting Carol's attempts to restrict outdoor seating at local restaurants. Omar, if you're serious about running, I'll help you, Beth said, stirring her latte. Carol's been making life difficult for small businesses, too. She thinks this neighborhood should be completely residential, no commercial activity whatsoever. How would I even start? I asked. First, you file the paperwork. Then you need 50 signatures from registered voters in the district. After that, it's about getting your message out. What message? Beth smiled. Freedom, common sense, not letting busybodies dictate how we live our lives. Within 2 weeks, I had 150 signatures. The community response was overwhelming. People were tired of unnecessary restrictions and wanted representation that actually understood normal life. But Carol wasn't going down without a fight. I was at the grocery store when she confronted me in the parking lot. I heard about your little campaign, she said, blocking my path to my car. It's not little, Carol. It's about protecting our rights as homeowners. Rights? You don't have the right to disrupt the entire neighborhood with your smoke and noise. 1 BBQ a week is not disrupting anything. You're just being. Being what, Omar? Say it. I took a deep breath. Unreasonable. You're being unreasonable. And you're abusing your position on the HOA board. Her face turned red. You think you can just waltz onto the city council and undo years of community standards? You're delusional. Community standards or your personal preferences forced on everyone else? We'll see who the community supports, she hissed. I've lived here for 20 years. You're just some newcomer who doesn't respect tradition. I've lived here for 5 years, and I've contributed more to this community than you ever have. The confrontation I'd been dreading came 3 days before the election. I was putting up campaign signs with Mike and Sarah when Carol marched over with 2 other HOA board members. You need to take those signs down immediately, Carol demanded, pointing at my Vote Omar for District 3 inches signs. These are on public property, I said calmly. I checked the regulations. They're an eyesore and violate community aesthetic standards. Mike stepped forward. Carol, they're literally campaign signs. Everyone running has them. Not in this neighborhood, they don't. Beth Chen pulled up in her car, apparently having heard about the confrontation. Actually, Carol, the city code explicitly allows political signs 60 days before an election. You can't remove them. Carol's face was turning purple now. You people are ruining this neighborhood. First the BBQs, now this election nonsense. Nonsense, I interrupted. Carol, over 200 people signed my petition. That's not nonsense. That's your neighbors telling you they're tired of your control. I've worked hard to maintain property values here. By driving people crazy with petty rules, Sarah asked. That's not maintaining values. That's playing dictator. One of the other board members, Frank, spoke up. Carol, maybe we should discuss this privately. No, Carol shouted. I'm tired of being polite about this. Omar, you're not fit for city council. You're reckless, you're inconsiderate, and you only care about yourself. That's rich coming from someone who called the cops on a backyard BBQ, Mike said. I did what was necessary to protect my quality of life. I kept my voice level. And I'm doing what's necessary to protect everyone else's freedom to live normally. That's why I'm running. Carol stepped closer, jabbing her finger near my face. If you win this election, I will make your life a living hell. I'll find every code violation, every tiny infraction, and I'll make sure you're buried in fines and complaints. Is that a threat, Carol? Beth pulled out her phone. Because I'm recording this. Carol's eyes went wide, then narrowed dangerously. You think you're so smart? You think you can just move into this neighborhood and change everything? I built this community. You didn't build anything, I said. You just tried to control it. That's when Carol grabbed one of my campaign signs and threw it to the ground, then stomped on it repeatedly. This is what I think of your campaign. Carol, stop! Frank tried to pull her back. She shoved him away, then turned and grabbed another sign, swinging it wildly. I won't let you ruin everything I've worked for. The sign's metal stake caught Mike on the arm, drawing blood. Sarah immediately called 911. You're crazy! Mike grabbed his arm. You actually hit me! Carol seemed to realize what she'd done. That was an accident. He was in the way. You assaulted someone with a weapon, Beth said, still recording. That's not an accident. Officer Davis arrived within minutes, along with another officer. He recognized me immediately. Mr. Malik, what happened here? Mike held up his bleeding arm. Carol Henderson attacked me with a campaign sign. She was destroying Omar's property and I tried to stop her. That's not what happened, Carol protested. He grabbed the sign from me and hurt himself. Carol, I have the whole thing on video, Beth interrupted, holding up her phone. Would you like to see it, officer? Carol's face went white. This is ridiculous. It was barely a scratch. Ma'am, assault is assault, Officer Davis said. I need you to come with me. Election night was surreal. I won by a landslide. 68% of the vote. The community had spoken loud and clear. Omar! Mike hugged me carefully, his bandaged arm in a sling. City Councilman Omar Malik has a nice ring to it. Sarah kissed my cheek. I'm so proud of you. Beth raised her glass. To common sense and freedom. The next morning, I attended my first city council meeting as a councilman-elect. My first order of business was proposing an amendment to the outdoor cooking ordinances. The current rules are unnecessarily restrictive, I explained to the council. My proposal would allow outdoor cooking on any day of the week between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., provided standard safety protocols are followed. Councilwoman Rodriguez nodded. This seems reasonable. Do we have any public comments? To my surprise, over 30 people showed up to speak in support. Mrs. Martinez talked about community gatherings. Tom discussed how the restrictions affected family traditions. Beth spoke about supporting local businesses and outdoor dining. The vote was unanimous. The new ordinance passed. A week later, I was at home seasoning my grill when Carol appeared at my fence. She'd been released on bail pending her trial for assault. Omar, can we talk? Her voice was small, defeated. What do you want, Carol? I wanted to apologize. I was wrong. I let my need for control get out of hand and I hurt people. I'm sorry. I set down my tongs and looked at her directly. Carol, you didn't just hurt people. You called the police on me for having a BBQ. You threatened to make my life hell. You assaulted my friend with a weapon. I know, and I'm truly sorry. I've had time to think about my actions. No, I don't accept your apology. I saw her face fall, but I continued. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught and faced consequences. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? You tried to control an entire neighborhood based on your personal preferences. You abused your power on the HOA board, and when you didn't get your way, you became violent. I made mistakes, but everyone deserves forgiveness. Maybe they do, but not from me. You're facing criminal charges for assault. That's your consequence. Learn from it or don't, but leave me alone. She stood there for a moment, then whispered, I hope you're happy. Actually, I am. I'm having a BBQ this Saturday, 2 p.m. The whole neighborhood's invited. I paused. Except you. After she left, Mike came out of my house, having heard the whole conversation through the open window. Cole, man, I love it. She needed to hear it. Some people never learn unless they face real consequences. Sarah joined us on the patio. The HOA board requested your presence at their next meeting. Apparently, they want to discuss revising their rules to align with the new city ordinances. I smiled. Perfect. We've got a lot of work to do. That Saturday, over 50 people showed up to my BBQ. We celebrated not just my election, but the freedom to live our lives without unnecessary restrictions. Mrs. Martinez brought her garden gnomes. Tom parked his work van proudly in the driveway. Beth brought her restaurant's famous coleslaw. As the sun set and the grill smoke rose into the evening sky, I looked around at my neighbors, my community, and felt genuinely grateful. Sometimes standing up for what's right means taking on more responsibility than you planned, but it's worth it. So what would you do if your neighbor tried to control your life? Would you fight back or give in to unreasonable demands? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself.